Hi, this is Smash Rundown. If you enjoy movie reviews, short, and trailer reactions, you're in the right place. So why not subscribe and hit the like button down below.
Today we're reviewing number 75 on the TIMEOUT Top 100 Movies of All Time, Annie Hall from 1977. Annie Hall is a 1977 romantic comedy drama directed by Woody Allen, starring Woody Allen as Alvy Singer and Diane Keaton as Annie Hall.
Alvy Singer reflects on his life and his relationships, particularly his failed relationship with Annie Hall. It's basically 90 minutes of Woody Allen indulging himself.
So let's start with the good, and most of the good here is going to be filmmaking stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed the breaking the fourth wall, how he narrated through the story progression. That type of storytelling really appeals to me. I enjoyed that aspect of it.
I'm not 100% sure I enjoyed the movie opening with that, but maybe that's just because I didn't connect with the character.
Yeah.
Because if I'd connected with the character, it would have been more interesting, but I didn't at all.
Yeah.
Because I felt like maybe if they'd given me time to actually care about or like him, it might have been more successful. And I think that piece alone shows you how important it is for you to already be kind of a fan of the actor, because he's starting off of nothing.
Yes.
So there has to be some positive association for you to be drawn in. And for me, I just don't have that.
100% Woody Allen fans will probably love this movie because it's all about Woody Allen. It's Woody Allen. So if you love Woody Allen, you're going to love the movie.
Especially if you like his comedy, which I don't.
Yeah.
For me, the best thing about this movie, or really the only thing I actually liked about this movie, was the interesting and meaningful filmmaking. I liked the switch between first person to third person throughout the movie. So, at moments where it was maybe less intimate, and when the character actually wanted you to see what's happening, it was first person. But at other times when it was a bit more intimate and they needed some privacy, it moved and shifted to the third person.
Yeah.
And the last scene of the movie was really interesting because the way that you were viewing their final goodbye from inside the shop, and they were standing outside in the street corner, it's almost like it's significant to them, but to everyone else around it, you're watching just a normal, mundane interaction. Even though for Alvy Singer and Annie Hall, it's a very significant part of their life story, for everyone else,
It's another day.
it's just another day. It could have been a goodbye between colleagues or anything.
Yeah.
And I like that shift. It let us get different perspectives a lot, and I enjoyed it.
And then moving on to the bad, it is literally just an endless stream of pseudo-intellectual dribble. Look, I did not enjoy that one bit.
I think you laughed once throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. And for me, that's very rare because I love comedies. I laugh a lot. And I laugh at dark humor, light humor, deadpan humor.
Everything.
It doesn't matter. I enjoy comedy, but this I did not enjoy.
I didn't laugh at all, and I found a lot of the jokes and really the whole movie quite sexist.
Yeah.
And I know that for some, they will view it as a movie of the times, and I view it as how poorly women have been treated and viewed throughout history. So it's even difficult for me to, find much positive about this. Especially throughout the movie, there's this lot of sexualization of women.
Yeah.
Because it feels like most of the time he just sees all the women in his life as sexual objects. And only at the end, after she leaves him, does he realize her as a separate being, where he's like, oh, I actually like her now. And it's like, it took you this whole movie to realize she's a person who's separate to you. And just how much he manipulated her because she was young and naive. So he used that and actually used his position of fame and abused that throughout the movie.
Yep.
And I found it quite terrible, and he didn't seem like a person I would want to really know very well because he seemed like a real ass. And even like the very first scene after his little narration in the beginning is him in school as a kid.
Yeah.
And he's kissing the girl, and he's just expressing his growing sexual identity or whatever the case was, And for me, it was interest, which he calls natural throughout the movie, which obviously it is. But the way that he displays it and embodies it, to me, doesn't feel that natural, or maybe not respectful to women. Maybe back then it was natural. Because he's kissing this girl and she doesn't want him to do it. And it's more like, it comes across as like boys will be boys and it's funny and cool. But then, what about the girl? Now, she's not allowed to have autonomy. She's not allowed to say who can and can't touch her and kiss her and whatever to her. I find that insulting. And it's also an issue with parenting, because you should teach your child good touch, bad touch. And if they can conceptualize that in that very abstract but very infantile form almost, because, even small children understand that, then they would know that, oh, I can't just go and start kissing other people and touching other people where they don't want to be touched, because I know that, you have to have permission to do that. And so you're putting your own child at risk of being abused because you're not teaching them the difference between good touch and bad touch, and that you can't just do that to another person without consent. And then you wonder why we have all the rape and stuff that we have in the world, because, boys will be boys and it's so funny and cute. And no, he's, assaulting the girl, basically. But we don't conceptualize it in that way, because he still has to learn. So it's the parent's job and the teacher's job to basically say, do you know that sometimes it's not okay to do certain things and you need to have permission. It's a discussion you should have with your children. And it's a discussion his parents obviously failed at. And it bugs me. And I think, starting off with, I just don't find his humor very funny. Yeah. And then going into the way he treats women and sexualizes women, and even throughout childhood, because even like when they're narrating what they're becoming when they're older, I'm into leather. So the only female who spoke up in that class is into leather. And then that's once again, sexualization and seeing women as sexual objects, which obviously I have a problem with.
Yes.
Because women are more than just sex. But, in this movie, it's obviously not the case until right at the end. And it's like, oh, wow, she's actually a real person. And I'm like, really? It took you that long to realize that?
And I suppose that speaks to the enjoyment of this movie, especially for us, because this movie 100% relies on liking Woody Allen. If you do not like the character, this is not a good movie. If you do not like the character, he's basically just whining and complaining for 90 minutes straight. And honestly, that's all I got was a whiner, complainer. Nobody likes me. Why am I persecuted? Why are all the women in my life leaving me?
Because you're an
Obviously.
ass. Manipulator, a little abusive. I didn't like him. Gaslighting.
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff in that movie that I didn't enjoy. And I just don't enjoy him. And I think, in part because obviously Woody Allen himself has I want to say torrid.
Yes.
History with women, and especially minors under his care. And so I'm just watching this movie and thinking, this terrible person is acting as himself as a terrible person towards women, and then I must somehow connect with that. And I just couldn't. And I know a lot of people said it was great and he was such good acting. I feel like it's really easy to act great when you're acting yourself and you're just being who you are all the time, and you're just being, your normal asshole self. And I felt that throughout the movie. I never escaped that knowledge. Yeah. And I feel like with some movies, even with actors that I don't necessarily like or agree with, you're able to escape the person because they get so into character, where this character was him.
Even if you try and look at this movie objectively, it is a movie about Woody Allen.
Loosely, yeah.
You can't really separate the art from the artist when the artist is the focal point. You are kind of forced to confront Woody Allen throughout this movie. And if you have a problem with Woody Allen and what he's done, and we have a problem with Woody Allen and what he's done, you have a problem with Alfie throughout this movie. Alvy.
And even before I knew all of those things, it's just not the humor I enjoy. I didn't laugh once.
Yeah.
So there was nothing for me, because I didn't like the character, I don't like the actor. He didn't turn me around.
No.
And that goes to another thing I've been complaining a lot about in, I think, this top 100, is that you get so many movies that they have such awesome novel ideas, because the idea is novel, the filmmaking or the filming was just awesome. Really, lots of interesting concepts. But I don't think that makes it a good movie, because at the end of the day, I didn't enjoy the movie. I didn't connect with the character. And you can have the most interesting concept in the best filming style, and I can acknowledge that, and still not like the movie because, I wasn't brought in and it didn't transform and, give you what you want from a movie. And I think for me, the most important thing when I go watch a movie is the enjoyment. I must feel like the movie took me away.
Even the script writing with this, the script was fine. There was nothing really wrong with the script. Just the character pulls you out of it, and you're not supposed to leave this type of film thinking, I really disliked the lead. I did not like the lead, I didn't connect to the lead, I didn't relate to the lead. I think the point was to relate to Alvy.
And to kind of understand where he's coming from, and I just couldn't. And I know a lot of people still love this movie, and I just don't get it. It has an Oscar, and it's like, okay, maybe in the 77 it won an Oscar because people, didn't see all the blatant misogynism in this movie.
And didn't see Star Wars.
And didn't watch Star Wars, evidently.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Sorry.
No, you're right. I think they were focusing on the novelty of the film instead of on, other aspects of the movie.
Yeah.
And maybe that is what the Academy does, because quite often that's exactly what they focus on is novelty. I think that's part of the problem with the Oscars. I don't care how great the film was in whatever thing. I want to know if I go watch the film, am I going to have a good time or not?
Yes.
In this film, it was a resounding no. That takes us to the rating. And I think we're changing up our rating style because otherwise this film might have gotten like a 1 or something.
Yes.
And I don't think that's necessarily fair because it was interesting in certain ways.
It was, and there are aspects of it that, if looked at in isolation, are pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so we looked at a couple of different features. One of them was acting, which we gave a 7, because you can't deny the acting was good.
Yes.
Even though I still have my gripe about Woody Allen acting as Woody Allen, basically. But we'll leave it at that for now.
The script we gave a 4. It was fine. I didn't like the character, and the big part of script writing is getting me to like the character. It didn't.
And there's a lot of movies where the character's really an awful person, and yet they're still able to draw you in.
You can relate to them.
Exactly. And comparatively, he isn't as awful as some other characters we've seen in movies, and yet still couldn't relate.
Yeah.
And then effects and design. I mean, this film set and everything was fine. It felt like where it was shot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was filmed on location in New York and California because it looked like New York and California.
Yeah, so it was adequate, 5.5.
Filmmaking, we give an 8. This is the one probably standout area for us. Really enjoyed the filmmaking, the styles they used, the different third person, first person that you're talking about.
And then obviously X Factor goes hand in hand with that because it was novel. There were interesting parts about it. The concept was good. I think it could have been done better in terms of the acting, and maybe a different actor would have pulled us in more.
Yeah.
But the idea was there.
So it gets a 9.
For sound and music, we gave it a 7 because even though there wasn't a lot of music, aside from her singing, really, every now and then, it was appropriate for the movie because it made the movie feel more real. It didn't give it this fantastical feel. It made it more grounded.
Yes. And finally, enjoyment, we gave it a 0 because it deserves a 0. I mean, I did not enjoy that one, but...
And neither one of us did, which is strange because often, I will enjoy a movie more than you will, or you will enjoy it more than I will. Thus, neither one of us liked it.
Yeah.
Which is saying something.
It is.
Especially for a comedy for you. It's shocking.
A surprise.
Yes. I knew I wouldn't like it. I thought you would at least laugh. So that leaves it a total of 5.8, which is okay.
Significantly more than it almost deserves, but yeah, sure. 5.8. So let us know in the comments down below. Why was this movie called Annie Hall and not Woody Allen as Woody Allen indulging Woody Allen?
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Later.